Hi everyone, good morning. Assalamu alaikum. This is Dr. Sheeza Mohsin joining live from Dallas, Texas. Today we're going to talk about social media. We are on social media and we are going to be discussing the impact or the effect of social media on relationships. I want to thank Rewire, which is a great mental health awareness platform, for inviting me and letting me collaborate with them on these topics that hopefully you will find useful. And let's talk about social media. So just so you know, I do switch between English and Urdu. If there is somebody who is predominantly a speaker of Urdu, feel free, and moderators, feel free to message me that I'm speaking too much of one language and I'm happy to switch. What I'm looking forward to is, after I talk a little bit about it, is your questions. This is a great opportunity for you to ask specific questions that may be related to your family, your friends, your own situation. All right. So by and large, I just wanted to put a disclaimer on social media consumption. Not all of it is bad. A lot of times when we become parents, we look at how this could be a really bad thing, and a lot of bad stuff happens with social media consumption. I just want you to know that anything consumed in moderation is good or not bad. So we're going to talk about both. And I would like to begin the session by talking a little bit more about the positive elements of social media. So you are not moving into your fear brain and thinking that once I hang up, I'm going to disconnect, I'm going to make sure my children are not consuming any social media. That's not how it works. So some of the good stuff about social media: you get to stay connected with so many family members and friends. There is a beautiful reunion element for those of us that started consuming social media maybe 13 to 15 years ago. It has really changed the trajectory of how we stay in touch with loved ones. So that's a beautiful element of social media. You have family connections, you have reunions, you find out about what everyone is doing without really being in touch with them. There's no way. So the information sharing that happens and how you feel connected or a part of something is beautiful. There's also a sense of community. So Rewire is a social media community, and it's beautiful, especially for countries like Pakistan, where there isn't as much in terms of resources available to get yourself more aware about mental health, more aware about what are some best practices for many of these elements. So that's another good thing to think about. Also, it gives you a voice. It gives you a voice in a positive way, when used in a positive way, to talk about important issues. So there's a lot of goodness that comes to that. From a relationship perspective, from a networking perspective, from an information sharing and resource sharing perspective, it's a great thing to use. So I will encourage you to not think of it as something that is completely negative. Now I want to switch to talking about some of the areas of concern for many about social media. And some of those elements are also about our children and younger consumers of social media and how it may impact them. So एक चीज़ जो मैंने देखी है बहुत सारी, जो social media के हवाले से there is a negative component, is how teenagers use social media and how it can be really taken out of proportion. Another thing that I'm going to share with you is all the studies that have been done that talk about some of the impacts of social media as well. So let's jump right into it. Social media consumption 2-3 किस्म की होती है. I want to tell you a little bit about it ताकि आपको समझ में आए, because most of us who are on this are looking at how we consume social media. हम सब use करते हैं. तो एक चीज़ होती है जिसको कहते हैं पैसिव कंजम्पशन, यानी कि वाचिंग टीवी, रीडिंग, लिसनिंग टू म्यूज़िक, इधर थोड़ा सा फेसबुक चेक कर लिया, इधर थोड़ा सा आपने सोशल मीडिया चेक इन कर लिया, एंड दैट्स पैसिव कंजम्पशन. आपकी इतनी इंगेजमेंट नहीं हो रही. The second one is called interactive consumption, which is like playing games, browsing the internet, doing research into topics that you may be interested in. अच्छा, उसके बाद एक होता है जिसको कहते हैं communication, which adults probably do a little bit less, but actually, men and women who do video gaming and video gaming softwares are used, they do that, which is called communicating. So for those of you who may be familiar with teenagers or young pre-adolescents playing games like Roblox and Fortnite, जिनके positives भी हैं और negatives भी हैं, will find yourself or your children or family members interacting. And then a fourth element of engagement is called content creation, according to experts, meaning using devices to make digital art, photography, music. इस तरह की चीज़ों में बहुत use होता है social media. So that's another important one to consider. One of the things that I want to start talking about is how you are consuming your social media will impact how you feel. So from a mental health perspective, I want to go into the depth of some of these engagements and then what happens with it. For example, some studies show that negative behaviors happen a lot, and a lot of studies have shown that there's a lot of negative behaviors that come out of social media or too much social media engagement, such as feeling low. Depression has been associated with social media. Another element that's been associated with social media is cyberbullying, especially for teenagers. Inappropriate usage of social media that has really impacted teenagers a lot, and impacts adults as well, those who consume it. So there are those negative elements, and I'll go into them in detail. थोड़ी सी आपको statistics बताऊं. In America, almost 70% or 75%, according to many studies, of consumers use social media, चाहे वो Facebook हो और Instagram हो और बहुत सारी दूसरी चीज़ें जो use करते हैं उसके साथ. Younger audiences use things like Snapchat and MySpace, and there's tons of other. So there is an interactive component in most media where you can really engage with everybody. So very, very important for you to keep those things in mind. अच्छा, अब मैं थोड़ा सा discuss करूँगी the negative elements. So what happens when we consume social media is that it definitely has a relationship with our moods. And there are many studies that have shown that these things are really not very helpful for us. So I will share with you some of those components. Stress. So a lot of times it's been shown that one kind of post that you can get engaged with social media can really impact and alter your mood. So अगर आप किसी की negative communication पढ़ लिया आपने and then you start consuming similar things, that really impacts your mood. BBC did a study और उन्होंने बताया कि उन्होंने about 1800 लोगों को सर्वे किया और वहाँ पे उन्होंने देखा कि women were more stressed than men, and one of the reasons was Twitter, कि उन्होंने ट्विटर को इस्तेमाल किया था और वो ट्विटर पे नेगेटिव मैसेजेस बहुत आ रहे थे, and so these women got negatively impacted in that study. और ये बहुत होता है. So you have to really notice how many of you are getting impacted with your stress level, because आप दूसरों की reality पढ़ रहे हैं. So that definitely has an impact. आपका mood depressed हो जाना और anxiety हो जानी. So one of the elements of social media that is negative is when we start comparing our lives with others. And actually, a lot of times studies focus more on teenagers because it impacts them a lot more. But similar symptoms are shown on adults that consume social media. So अगर आपने देखा कि फलाने के यहाँ there's a lot of social events जिससे आप शायद आप उनका हिस्सा ना हो, या फिर there's a lot of vacationing, a lot of people like posting about their vacations. Depending on what you're consuming और आपका खुद का mood क्या है, it may really alter how you're feeling and may induce depressive symptoms. So बहुत ज़रूरी है कि social media consume करने के बाद आप देखें कि आप खुद कैसे feel कर रहे हैं. Very important for you to consider. And it's really important for you to notice how your moods are. Similar things are noticed for children. So children and teenagers, for those of you who have children, you will notice kabhi kabar that your children get off from technology and they're irritable, और उनको लड़ाई करनी है और झगड़ा करना है for no reason. So it's very important to notice and ask those open-ended questions about what they were using and what happened, what did they read, and create a safe space where they can actually talk to you about it. Another thing I'll tell you, and I want to stick with this topic of adolescents and teenagers and their use of social media, because वहाँ पे impact बहुत ज़्यादा negative नज़र आया है, is that you want to have those safe space conversations with your children. A lot of studies show that children don't share their social media life with their parents. So अगर आपके बच्चे social media पे हैं, उनमें से कुछ, not everybody, please know that there are lots of kids there who are very open with their parents, depending on the relationship dynamics. तो बहुत सारे बच्चे आपसे शेयर ही नहीं कर रहे कि वो किस तरह consume करते हैं. So there are fake Instagram accounts, there are fake every kind of account from where they operate, especially when parents now who are getting more informed want to be their friends on social media. कुछ बच्चे जो हैं वो outright refuse कर देंगे और कहेंगे कि उनको नहीं आपसे communication करनी on this topic. So another one is anxiety. So feeling anxious, especially when you are using a couple of platforms, और आप देख रहे हैं कि आपकी लाइफ को compare अगर आप कर रहे हैं और आपको negative feelings आ रही हैं. So this is a very important element. If you're feeling negative and if you're feeling low, experts recommend कि आप उस वक्त social media बहुत carefully consume करें और आप वो चीज़ें पढ़ें जिससे आपका mood better हो, not आपका mood. So for example, if you are going through relationship distress and you are noticing कि बहुत सारा वैसा time है आपकी अपनी relationship में distress है और आप सब अपने friends और अपने connections के आप messages पढ़ रहे हैं social media पे जहाँ पे anniversaries हो रही हैं. So that's a time when your friends will write a lot of romantic messages for their partners. Well, suddenly, if you are going through relationship distress, आपको लगेगा कि oh my god, मेरी life तो बिल्कुल horrible है because I'm not getting those messages from my loved one. And so it's important to protect yourself because you will be impacted by those, and I'm talking about adults. Another thing that social media has been connected with is altering and impacting your sleep in a negative way. जहाँ पे आप सो रहे होंगे और आपकी नींद ज़रा सी डिस्टर्ब होगी and there's a phone light going on कि आपका social media populate हो रहा है, it's something that will really want you to pick it up and see what's happening. Well, you've now impacted your sleep, और कितनी studies हैं जो show करती हैं कि if you're not sleeping well, it's going to alter your mood, your productivity, the quality of your relationships, सब चीज़ें आपकी alter हो जाएंगी. So very important for you to think of those. एक और चीज़ जिस पे आपको थोड़ी सी emphasize करना है, देखना है अपनी relationship में loved ones, female and male, a lot of times, so when I see couples, I get a lot of complaints from the spouses कि ये फ़ोन पर होते हैं सारा वक्त, फ़ोन पर होते हैं सारा वक्त. So, addiction is something that is prevalent और उसका symptom ये होता है कि वो आपके रास्ते में आ रहा है to live life. fully and wholeheartedly. So if you feel like you want to be on the phone more than active in your relationships, then there's something you want to pay attention to. So बहुत important है. एक और चीज़ मैं आपको बहुत सारी चीज़ें बता रही हूँ that I'd like you, if you're interested in, research it. Women are impacted in a negative way sometimes with social media as far as body image is concerned. So social media पे बहुत सारी perfect images of women नज़र आती हैं. People like to, flaunt a lot of, whether it's clothing, jewelry, size, so there's a lot of body image issues that transpire from that. Women not feeling good enough about themselves when they see, and especially if they are emotionally in that space. अगर आप emotionally strong space में हैं तो it's a completely different experience. लेकिन it's very important, or studies show that women consume social media way more than men do. So women have to really be very vigilant कि आप क्या चीज़ internalize कर रहे हैं और आपका focus जिस वक्त आप social media consume करें. And I'll talk about tips on how to stay healthy and also teach your children to be healthy about it. कि बहुत important है कि आप notice करें कि आपका mood कैसा है जब आप social media engagement start करेंगे, because you can easily be triggered in any negative way. So बहुत ज़रूरी है कि आप उस चीज़ पर focus करें. So now let me talk a little bit about how social media impacts relationships. अच्छा, ये बहुत interesting चीज़ है because a lot of people use social media to get into relationships. तो वहाँ पे भी एक good है कि you have access to people for those of you who may be single looking for partnerships. But there's also a vulnerability for those people in committed relationships कि जिनके पास access होती है. And a very dangerous element for relationships in social media is कि social media एक थोड़ा सा abstract world होता है. तो वहाँ पे आप कोई भी बन सकते हैं जो आप बनना चाहते हैं without validation. Real life में तो अगर जैसे मैं किसी को कहूँ कि मैं एक पायलट हूँ, well, 2 मिनट में सबको पता चल जाएगा कि मैं पायलट नहीं हूँ. लेकिन अगर मैं सोशल मीडिया पे अपनी एक आइडेंटिटी बना लूँ, अपनी एक इम्पोस्टर आइडेंटिटी बना लूँ एज अ पायलट, and I put any random picture there, it's very easy to open accounts. So there I am with my identity as a pilot. So एक imposter identity बनाना बहुत easy होता है. Youth भी करती है, a lot of adults do that as well. And a lot of my clients as well as my colleagues report similar things. अच्छा, it's a very important thing to notice, your negative feelings as you are communicating on social media. थोड़ी सी मैं आपको after this, I want to just spend a few minutes and then we'll start wrapping up on what to look out for and how to manage this. So it's really important कि आप 2-4 चीज़ों के बारे में conscious रहें. So now I'm giving you some tips on what to do with social media consumption. एक तो ये कि आप थोड़ा सा well informed रहें. As far as relationships go, be very vigilant of your moods. When you are reading messages and they're making you feel less than, you want to really focus on what was going on for you. जो feeling आपकी एकदम से exaggerate हो गई because आपने पढ़ा कि लोगों के vacations हो रहे हैं या other people are doing a lot more than I'm doing. Work at home mothers talk about how when they notice their peers who are working, they have a lot more to report, and work at home mothers have limited things to report. So that pressure and that anxiety they may be feeling. If you're feeling envy for others, एक फेसबुक की स्टडी हुई थी जिन्होंने बताया था कि 20 मिनट फेसबुक कंज्यूम करने के बाद ज़्यादातर कंज्यूमर्स का डिप्रेस्ड मूड हुआ या उनका मूड ऑल्टर हो गया टू अ नेगेटिव प्लेस. सो वेरी इम्पोर्टेंट फॉर यू टू कीप योर मूड माइंडफुली इन योर माइंड कि आप खुद कैसा फील कर रहे हैं. सो 2-3 चीज़ें जिन पे मैं और टच बेस करूँगी, one for teenagers, one for adults, and one for relationships. So for teenagers, one of the things to look out for, that is an extreme case, सबके साथ नहीं होता, but I want to put it out there, is cyberbullying. So cyberbullying is real. आप इसके बारे में थोड़ा पढ़िए and talk about how you are, your child is being treated. Is a very important component of your child's mental health. आप ज़रा notice करें अगर वो फ़ोन को या कंप्यूटर को देखकर anxious हो रहा है, so that there may be some of that going on. One of the questions that has just been posed by somebody who's listening is that बच्चों के साथ क्या करें आप जब वो हमेशा सोशल मीडिया पे होते हैं या वीडियो गेम्स खेल रहे होते हैं and they don't have time to engage. Well, absolutely, I hear you. सब बच्चों के साथ ये होता है, and as parents, all of us get triggered with that. So I will invite you, instead of just pointing out what they're doing wrong, having blanket statements कि तुम तो सारा वक्त फ़ोन पर होते हो, तुम तो सारा वक्त मीडिया पे होता है, find positive moments to engage with your child and have protective time where you can engage with your child. So जैसे 2-3 rules, I'm very flexible and fluid when it comes to family rules about screen time and social media, because मुझे लगता है कि अब जितनी families especially मेरे पास आती हैं या the ones I hear from my colleagues and the ones I read about, उनके खुद के भी as adults you are also on social media. You might be on social media when the kids are in school, और जब वो वापस आते हैं तो उनकी बारी होती है सोशल मीडिया पे आने की, and that's when parents are saying no, हमारे साथ time spend करो. So there are 2-3 spaces that I recommend. वहाँ पे आप सोशल मीडिया लिमिट कर सकते हैं. On the dinner table, जब आप meals कर रहे हो, nobody, including the adults, should be allowed to have phones with them whenever there is a meal, when you're sitting on a table. And then also finding opportunities to really engage with your kids is a very important thing. So आप जो है ये जो question पूछा जा रहा है, just want to touch base on it about social media. अच्छा, adults के बारे में, और actually there's a question that's coming up and it was something I was going to touch on. A lot of people do negative things on social media. So cyberbullying जिसको कहते हैं, वो सिर्फ teenagers के साथ नहीं होती. People get obsessive and they start stalking your accounts, and so there are those friends or people that you consider friends जो इस तरह आपकी followership या आपकी activity को follow करें, and it's a very typically not a great space to be. So creating boundaries in your social media interaction is very important. कि अगर आपको negative experiences हो रहे हैं, to really block that person or to limit their restrictive use. अगर कोई ऐसी relationship है आप जिसको fault नहीं कर सकते या उनको आप ignore नहीं कर सकते. So a lot of I have heard from clients, I've read studies about how people start sending you private messages, especially अगर आपकी कोई belief different हो, आपकी कोई religious belief different हो, and then how much time you spend there. So there's another great question that's coming up is, work at home moms. The question was that I'm a stay-at-home mom. I would invite you to say that you are a work-at-home mom. A lot of times people have the image कि stay-at-home mom सिर्फ सोफों पे बैठती हैं और टीवी देख रही होती हैं. बहुत काम होता है घर पे for stay-at-home moms as well. And a lot of the moms do complain, और ये इन्होंने question भी जो डाला है वो यही है कि I find myself spending a lot of time. So limiting yourself and setting boundaries बहुत important है. It's a great opportunity कि आप realize करें कि आपको अपना time कैसे spend करना है. What are things you could be doing, and set some boundaries. एक बड़ी simple app है आपके phones पे जो monitor करती है आपका screen time. When you're being honest with yourself, go check in and see कि आपका screen time कितना है और आपने किस चीज़ में टाइम स्पेंड किया, दैट्स डेफिनेटली ओनरशिप आ जाती है. बट आई ऑल्सो वॉन्ट टू शो कंपैशन कि ये बड़ी मुश्किल चीज़ है, बिकॉज इंटरनेट पे इतनी अलोरिंग चीज़ें होती हैं that it's very important for you to be a little bit more mindful of how you're consuming it. बहुत सारी मज़े की भी चीज़ें होती हैं. मैं उन पेरेंट को जवाब दे दूँ, start engaging with your kids in a positive way instead of shaming them for their social media use. बहुत ज़रूरी है कि वो आप चीज़ करें. टीनेजर्स की और अडल्ट्स की एक और चीज़, ये बहुत स्मॉल पॉपुलेशन करती है, बट आई एम जस्ट गोना पुट इट आउट देयर, that there is a lot of lack of privacy on social media, a lot less privacy than we realize. इसको कहते हैं एक concept है, उसका नाम है digital footprint. So your digital footprint is a very important thing to manage. That you really need to know कि आप किन साइट्स पे जा रही हैं और उनके पास आपकी कितनी इंफॉर्मेशन होगी. For those of you who notice, you will know कि आप अगर फॉर एग्जाम्पल I'll take a female example, आप शू शॉपिंग कर रही हैं और आपने शू शॉपिंग करके सोशल मीडिया ऑन किया, well guess what you will see populated in the window next to your social media screen? It's the same shoe store and it's showing you the shoe you looked at. So there is a lot of information that gets shared. तो privacy आपके पास नहीं होती. It's very important that you really notice कि आप क्या कर रहे हैं in terms of consumption. I have another question that I am noticing is that my parents are restricting me and I'm not active on social media. I know it's hard and I know a lot of families who will say कि वो अपने छोटे बच्चों को टीवी नहीं दिखाते और सोशल मीडिया पे. It's very hard and I understand. And it's a tough question. Unfortunately इतनी limited information में मैं कोई इस तरह की advice नहीं दे सकती, but this is a great time for an opportunity to have a conversation with your parents about healthy use. Unhealthy uses जो हैं, obviously based on limited information, मना करना is very easy compared to saying okay we are going to use it carefully. So as an adult, like I was saying, a lot of times parents hear about cyberbullying. एक और चीज़ जो teenagers or adults, a lower percentage in Pakistan and South Asia, but yet a significant percentage, engage in what is called, unhealthy romantic relationships, जहाँ पे जिस चीज़ का नाम होता है sexting. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but people exchange pictures, messages that have a very private nature, and you have to know that these, the lack of privacy there is very dangerous. Another thing about your digital footprint, and this is for older people, and especially people who engage in negative rants on social media. For those of you in the workforce, it is very common now for employers, for countries to be looking at your social media profiles about your positions on things, and you can have consequences. A lot of times it's not done officially, lekin it's done unofficially. A member is saying that after listening to you, I understand the dangers of too much social media use. It makes me let me see what they're saying. It makes me compare my life to others. Is it true that people show a different side to themselves online? Everyone else seems to be living a perfect life. So I will tell you कि बड़ा interesting concept है. Thank you for bringing it up. That you will find people glorifying their life on social media. So glorification ही है जिसकी वजह से envy या feeling less than होता है. How many times have you read a post? Unfortunately, there are some times जहाँ पे सब बता रहे हो कि जी आज मेरी अपनी बीवी से लड़ाई हुई या अपने हस्बैंड से लड़ाई हुई, आज Today my child was misbehaving with me, today this was happening that was negative. So you have to remember that this is a very tricky situation. But most important, so I'm going to start wrapping up the discussion, most important would be for you to see how you are feeling before and how you are feeling after you are done consuming that media. Are you coming out angry and wanting to talk about, जी उसने ये post कर दिया, उसने ये post कर दिया, or do you come out feeling happy? It makes a huge difference on what you're consuming, and you may need to look at it. So बहुत ज़रूरी है that you regulate your own emotions and your family's emotions. Relationships के लिए positive चीज़ ये है कि a lot of couples, and research shows that when they exchange positive messages on social media, it strengthens their relationship. Well, unfortunately for those couples जहाँ पे सिर्फ एक active है और दूसरा active नहीं है, it can negatively impact the relationship. So it's very important that you understand the kind of relationship you have, and in terms of social media, and have realistic expectations from your relationships. Because a lot of times क्या होता है, social validation एकदम से एक चीज़ बन जाती है जिसकी आपको ज़रूरत होती है, that will really negatively impact your relationship. You may be in a wonderful relationship, but आपकी spouse या आपके spouse social media पे नहीं होंगे, and then you will start feeling less than, because एक अगर competitive element activate हुआ हुआ है तो that's not healthy. So very important for you to keep that in mind as well. I think I'm going to start wrapping up for our session, but again I want to conclude by saying that there are very important components for you. The first thing I talked about was understanding कि आपकी family member किस किस्म का social media consume कर रहा है. So are they being a passive consumer कि वो multitasking कर रहे हैं और बस थोड़े से pages जो हैं वो इधर उधर browse कर लेते हैं? Are they engaging, like लोग games खेलते हैं? I have friends that I see जो from Ludo to cards to Fortnite to Roblox interactive games खेल रहे हैं. That is called communication. And then content creation. आप किस तरह social media को use कर रहे हैं? आपकी utilization of social media, are you expressing negative feelings or positive feelings? ये आपने देखना है. And then before and after consuming social media, how are you feeling? आप positive feel करके, good feelings about yourself करके उसमें से उतर रहे हैं और आपके बच्चे और family members, wives, husbands, या फिर आप लड़ाइयाँ करने के mood में उतर रहे हैं social media से, where you are trying to fight with your spouse about not getting attention, not feeling good, गुस्सा किसी पर निकाल रहे हैं, and getting into a self-pity mode. If that is happening, then maybe there is an opportunity to reconsider how you are utilizing that social media. Again, I would like to reiterate, look at the negative traits of your children as well. अगर उनको anxiety हो रही है या वो negative चीज़ों में impact हो रहे हैं तो उनका mood आप check करें. The other thing to look out for is the kind of digital footprint and the lack of privacy that you may be exploiting and showing yourself too much and sharing too much information. अपनी life को आप दूसरों से अगर compare कर रहे हैं, then this is something at that moment you are maybe not in a place where you should be consuming too much social media, depending on आप कहाँ पे consume करते हैं और आपकी social connections की lives में क्या हो रहा है. So अपने mood के ऊपर आप vigilant रहिए. Notice how you're feeling around social media. Social media is something that definitely has, just like a drug, it has those narcotic components where you can get addicted. You can be, आप अगर computer पे या phone पे busy sound कर रहे हैं और अपना time waste कर रहे हैं, notice your screen time. See how much time you're utilizing. Utilize it in a positive way. There's nothing wrong with sharing happy posts, as long as you're doing it in a healthy way. You're not obsessing it. You're not posting 8 times a day and posting about every tiny behavioral change. That's too much information and you don't know what kind of information you're sharing. आप अपने बच्चों under 13 बच्चों के साथ की information जब share करते हैं, be careful because उनकी भी privacy violate हो रही है. Those are some of the things that you want to keep an eye on. And I wish you all the best, and I wish you healthy social media consumption. Rewire, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk to you about social media. बहुत important चीज़ है. 2 resources मैं आपके साथ share करूँगी about social media. One of them is called commonsensemedia.org. ये बड़ी अच्छी website है where you can get educated in social media consumption. A lot of the information I was sharing with you was from that. So I definitely want to give them credit. Places like the BBC, Pew Research, they really bring out a lot of good research about social media consumption. It's very important that you stay informed. Social media का जो common sense media है, a lot of the times parents are asking me about screen time. It has really good healthy guidelines, but मैं बताऊँ आपको कि at the end of the day you have to decide what's good for your family. अगर आपके बच्चे हेल्दी तरीके से सोशल मीडिया कंज्यूम कर रहे हैं, आप उनको प्लीज़ टॉर्चर मत करें. अगर आपको बिहेवियर्स और इश्यूज नज़र आ रहे हैं, इट मे बी समथिंग एल्स ऑल्सो, यू नो. और फैमिली टाइम स्पेंड करना इज़ अ हैबिट दैट हैज़ टू बी डेवलप्ड फ्रॉम द गेट गो. एकदम से वो नहीं आ जाती. सो इट्स अ completely separate issue, and a lot of times relationships as well as parenting relationships blame social media for it. There may be some other underlying issues that you may want to work on and not just social media. So again, be safe, be careful. It was great talking to all of you, and I will see you in a few weeks on the next Rewire conversation. Bye bye.